Can we begin? Or
Yeah,
not yet?
yeah.
Okay, it's good.
Hello, everyone.
Okay,
Good evening. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the tent of the new federal state of China. Today, we're very privileged and honored to welcome all of you to honor a very important day, Yom HaShoah. This is a very important day for people from around the world, not only for the people from Israel or Jewish people, but equally important for Chinese, for American, for Dutch, for Spanish, for Italian. So we're very happy to welcome all of you to remember the Never Again promise. So on the back of my screen, can you hear us? Okay. So, on this TV screen, we're playing the documentary from the Holocaust, and especially in this country of Poland, where the Jewish people have been severely persecuted during the World War II. We know we lost 3 million precious Jewish people's life. So let's not forget about the history. So I'd like to welcome Joseph to open today's ceremony. Thank you.
Thank you, first of all, to Nicole and Henry and all the new federal state of China. So like Nicole said, my name is Joseph. I'm part of One Heart, the organization. We are from Israel. And we remark this evening the Yom HaShoah, the Memorial Day. First of all, I want to apologize if my English is not perfect, far from being perfect. So my name is Joseph, and my name is under the name of my grandfather. His name was Joseph. In 1940, I think, the Germans came to Belgium. First of all, he was born in Lviv. My grandfather born in Lviv, and he moved to Belgium. And when the Nazis came to Belgium, they called him to research him because he's a Jew. And when he get out, his brother wait with bicycles and diamonds and fake ID under another name, Jean-Jacques Guérin, and he took the bicycles and ran away to Western French, and he was with the diamonds and the fake ID and the bicycles all of the war over there. The other grandfather, he died when I was 1 year and a half, and he didn't talk after the Shoah, after the Holocaust, but in the nights, in the dreams, in the nights you can hear them scream. I don't know what he talk when he scream, but in the days he didn't speak. And his wife, my grandmother, was in the Shoah in Auschwitz. That's the hell himself. And she speaks a lot. And my grandmother, she busy with the Holocaust in her life. She guiding in Yad Vashem. It's the organization in Israel that tell the whole world about the Holocaust. And she was guiding Poland. She took youth to travel in Poland and all of this. And today, that's the day. of the revolt of Warsaw, of the Jews in the ghetto in Warsaw, and that's why we mark this day. Our organization, the man that established it, it's Erez Eshel, and I want to invite Erez to say a few words. One Heart and also N Prat. One Heart, it's part of N Prat. It's a pre-military academic in Israel. And I want that Erez will say a few words about N Prat and One Heart and what was the target, and about the project that he established in Ukraine before 8 years, when the Prime Minister invited Erez to establish in Ukraine also something similar. So all of the thing Erez will speak now.
Good evening. I'm honored to be here, and it's a great excitement for me to be here on the night of the memorial of the Holocaust. I just came here from Auschwitz, and there with a delegation, first time in my life, with 100 Israeli Arab Muslims of one of our branches named Atidna. Since last night when I came, I tried to understand, is it right tomorrow to be on March of Living with Israeli Arab Muslims? Every year, on the day of Holocaust, or 2 days before, I go from one academy for leadership to another and give lectures about the phenomena of the Holocaust. On the night, I'm in Yad Vashem as a board member. On the day of the Holocaust, we have a family special event with my father. My father is a Holocaust survivor. The only reason he had survived is because a Christian family in Paris had hidden him and his brother. And we go every year to a forest that has a memorial for the Jews that were murdered from France. And my father with his grandkids, we have a partisan meal. We peel potatoes. We put every time the grandkids to protect that the Germans won't come to murder. And we eat soup from peels of potatoes. And I'm here now. And it's so significant to be here on the day that memorials the meeting of the pure evilness that humankind had faced. The phenomena of the Holocaust. How do you understand it? What's a phenomena of one unique thing that can never be compared to anything, but has a great message to all of us? The phenomena is understood by very simple words. Juden rein. What does it mean, Juden rein? What's rein? Rein is clean. The Germans wanted the world to be clean from Jews. You know, many times when we look at the map of the Germans planning how to kill the Jews, we are shocked by the big numbers. More than 1 million in Ukraine, more than 1 million in Poland. But the interesting thing are the small numbers. A city in Norway with 7 Jews that didn't know that they are Jews, and the Germans were chasing them. An island in Greece, 200 German Nazis were chasing 1 Jew. My father, he was a baby. His brother, if the Germans would find them, he would never ever go out the house that he was hidden. They would kill him as a baby on the spot. You know, everyone knows the story of Anna Frank. You understand that Gestapo people were looking from one house to another in Netherlands to find this family? Why? We never had reign of any nation in the world. We never had a reign of any animal. Not cats, not dogs, not rats, even not flies. And, you know, sometimes flies bother us. And we say, I want all of the flies to do, but if anyone would think to kill all of the flies, we would stop him. But the Germans wanted to kill the last Jew in the world. אני יודע. Yeah. Sefi asked me, said, there are some people from Germany here. Okay? I know. We have to face our past. 3 years ago, the president of Ukraine came to Yad Vashem and gave one of the most important talks that anyone had gave ever in Yad Vashem. Said, yeah, we Germans have to face our past. Yeah, many times we say Nazis. 38% of the ones were part of the Nazi party. But sad to say, reason it's a phenomena. Because the second phenomena, the Germans that had done the Holocaust weren't criminals. How do I say so? Because most of them had families and kids and had degrees, and a lot of them were nurses and doctors. You know, you go to Auschwitz, you open the diary of the manager, of the head of Auschwitz. He had kids in his house next to Auschwitz, babies. He describes how one day he goes to see how the killing, the proceed of killing is going quick enough. And he described, I saw this mother with her 2 babies in their hand, and they were screaming and yelling. They understood what's going to happen to them. It touched my heart. That's what he writes. I remembered my babies that are playing in the garden. So I put my hand into the pocket and put 1 sweet in each mouth, and then I put them in and closed the door and killed them. They had families. That's a phenomena. Judenrein is a phenomena. That they weren't criminals. That women were part of the murdering system. There were thousands of young women that were writing, yeah, we collected today 1 kilogram of golden tooth. 1 ton of hair. In Auschwitz, I took today the Israeli Arabs to the room that my grandfather was murdered. He was in an experiment in the beginning. There was an experiment of trying to give shots, injections into the chest. 20,000 Jews like my grandfather. 2 people were holding, and there was few theater actors that they liked it. It took 20 minutes to die. Afterwards they understood it takes too much time, and the body it's too difficult to take it out. The phenomena of Wannsee committee. There was a committee of people, all kind, not only army and police, regular bureaucrats. And they were sitting to discuss the last solution of the Jews. Can you imagine such a meeting in an amazing castle with a lake, and there was on the invitation written, breakfast will be served, good breakfast. And you can understand, all of us have meetings and we discuss, all of the volunteers that are discussing how to do, what to do. There are arguments. There was no one that raised up and said, what we are talking about, let's use them as hard labor. No one dared to stand and say, and we have the stenogramma, even one. There wasn't such a meeting ever. Four phenomena. They worked against their own interest. You know, we say everyone has an interest in life. He wants to survive, he wants to be respected, he wants to succeed. When you go to 1944, where Barbarossa mission collapsed, where the Germans are defeated already by the Russians and they're taking back, they're screaming, send us supplies, trains. No one was there. And the Germans, Hitler, decides to kill all of the Jews in Budapest, in Hungary, 1 million. What is that? Why? How could it happen? The last phenomena, this time. The last phenomena is, there is the idea of a martyr. We say in Hebrew, Kiddush Hashem. Kiddush Hashem is when you have an alternative. I tell you, betray your beliefs and you will live, or otherwise you will die. We had it in Spain when Jews were burned to the stake, or otherwise they had to convert. A lot of them were afraid of torture and death, but there were some martyrs all around history, and it represented the strength of life. But in Germany, in the Holocaust, you could be a couple, you could be a Judenrat, you could be a celebrator, you could be a hero of the First World War. Some Jews, they were even in the Nazi party. All of them would die. Why? Because they had one sin, that they were born. A phenomena. I'll say another one that touched me the first time in my life when I visited in Auschwitz. I'm a colonel in special forces. I know how to fight. I lost soldiers and students to do special missions. First time I come to Auschwitz and I see the crematoriums. Each one is 3 times bigger than this tent. Between each crematorium, there is a distance of 100 meters. And I understand in Auschwitz that surrounding Auschwitz, you had factories of Mercedes, of BMW, of Volkswagen, and that the United Nations had attacked these companies. Why there wasn't even one pilot of endless pilots that would release one bomb on one crematorium, one bomb on a train to stop this evilness? Why didn't it happen? We know what one of my biggest heroes of the Holocaust, the main heroes during the Holocaust, were women. Women have strength. For women, courage is a nature. There was this woman, Roja Robota, with his 2 assistants. They worked in one of the factories. And for weeks, they smuggled gunpowder in hidden places in their body, 1 gram, another gram, until they had enough. And then with the Muslims were the live dead people that took the body out from the gas chambers in order to be burnt. They created a rebellion and exploded one of the crematoriums, and they lowered down the capacity of murdering. This Roja Robota, just to know, she was caught by the Nazi Germans. For more than 2 months, they were tortured in a way we can't understand. Every nail was taken out. Every tooth was drilled. We can't imagine even. They didn't give the names of the ones that were on the rebellion team. Another phenomena. When the Russians are entering Auschwitz, the Germans understand that they have to escape. The last ceremony in Auschwitz, they take Roja Robota and their 2 assistants and they hang them to death. Kind of a message before they go on the march of death. If we will kill the last Jewish woman, we will stand in our mission. We will be able to bring Judenrein. But no one in the world can defeat brave women. No one can defeat Jewish women. That's part of our nation. Back, what I'm doing now in Auschwitz. When Israeli Arabs are coming, part of us, they are part of the state of Israel. And when we are here from different nations, when we are here with courageous Chinese people, so courageous, because in China today there is real evilness. And the world is ignoring it from several reasons. Some of them because they make money out of it. That's true. We as Jews understand when the miracle that was done by people 74 years ago, the state of Israel, we understand that the state of Israel is not a shelter for the Jews. One of the things I understand, and my kid, 3 weeks ago I took my eldest son to Auschwitz because 2 weeks ago he joined the army to understand, to show him the name of his grandparents. But one of the things we understand in the state of Israel, in the beginning when I was in the army, I understood that my mission is that a Jew shall never raise his hands above his head, that a child that I always imagined him like my father will never be afraid. But when I grew up, I understood we Jews have a mission to create the strongest state in the world with the highest values of loving people. That anywhere in the world that there will be evilness, that anyone will suffer, we have to be there for others. Anyone that is connected to the state of Israel or lives has to be part of it. When we speak about what's leadership, leadership is about anyone from his position has to do good. It can be a nurse, a doctor, a psychologist, a social worker, a teacher. That's leadership. That's the reason leaders create leaders. But leaders face a crisis. They define a crisis, identify, admit that it exists, build ability and institutes in order to challenge it when it comes. Because leadership is about courage, they face a crisis. We are all here because there is a crisis in Ukraine. When Putin is attacking, when Russia, it's not Putin. When Russia is attacking Ukraine, it's not a local question. It's a question where the world is going into. It's a question where is China going into. It's a question is the Western world is about having fun, enjoying ourselves, watching television, sending texts, or do we have values that we will sacrifice for them? Only if you sacrifice. Sacrifice, again, is the nature of a mother. Any mother that delivers kids, understand it. And then we men learn what's courage. We have to remember, on the Holocaust Day, we have to remember, it's not only that there are good values in the world, there is evilness. We saw the evilness 80 years ago. The evilness is part of life. And in order to face evilness, we have to be strong, united with values. Never forget, never compromise. And I can tell you what you are doing here, and to see Leil Seder that you are able to do here, it's part of a new generation that comes and says, doesn't matter how complicated the situation will continue being, and it will be for the next few years, a new generation is rising up that is committed and has the ability together to make this world a world of freedom. Have a meaningful day.
Thank you. And before you go, I want to, on behalf of all members of the new federal state of China, I want to thank you for being here and giving such a powerful speech. It's so encouraging and inspirational to the Chinese people who are still struggling under communism, under the genocide by the Chinese Communist Party. and also for people from around the world, because we know during the Holocaust, many countries stayed silent. And I remember the Nobel Peace Prize winner in 1986. He's a Jewish Holocaust survivor. He said something like, in face of evil, we must take sides. We cannot be neutral. Staying neutral is to support the oppressor. So I think that we stand with all the freedom-loving people from Israel. We must not forget the Holocaust, but we forgive. And I'm so touched that in Poland, a free country where the Jewish people have been so persecuted, 3 million Jews were terminated in this land, but all the Jewish people, all the freedom-loving people from Israel are coming here to help. This is such a big heart. This is a love, this is a compassion, this is what can unite people from all around the world.
What you have said is so important. In the Bible, the shortest book is named Obadiah. 21 sentences. How did it get into the Bible? Less than a chapter. The book of Obadiah is the book that says, whoever doesn't take a side, that stands aside, says it's none of his business, he is like the ones that are doing evil. Yeah. You have to take side. Because when you have the ability, when you see there is good and bad, you mustn't stay neutral. That's one of the biggest messages. And China, and we Jews, and do understand, why do we work on building more and more leadership institutes? Because we understand we need millions of leaders, millions of people that will be committed. And we talk about it. Maybe it will take 100 years. Maybe it will take 200 years. But maybe it will take 300 years. But one day, China will be a nation of freedom. It will take time. Great people do not wait next 5 years, next 30 years. We look at the time. Some people here, Tomer has 4 little kids. His parents love the kids, are excited. They feel happiness from the kids. Sefi has 8 kids. 7. So you will have 8. Okay?
How many kids do you have?
I have 7. 1 is adopted. Now, we understand that we are preparing the world on the time that their kids will be grandparents. So we are looking at the year 1120. So we will work hard and we will do history. We will never stand aside. Be strong.
Yes, and one more thing. In face of the pure evilness during the World War II, the real Chinese people gave a lot of visa to the Jews so that they can escape to China. This happened before the Communist Party took over China. So the Chinese people love the Jewish people. We took sides. We were not neutral. And I hope that we will continue this friendship permanently with the new federal state of China between people in Israel and the new federal state of China.
When this crisis will end, you will come to Israel for a few weeks to be in the academies for leadership and to be part of building a new mission.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. So Joseph, he's actually a young leader. Today, many people sitting here from Israel, they will become the future leader of Israel and the future leader of the world. So he's one of them. He has 7 kids, 8 kids.
Yes, unbelievable.
But, yes, and he's been here for several weeks and doing beautiful volunteer work. So I'm going to pass on to you, and please say a few words about the meaning of the Holocaust remembrance and what it means to people from around the world.
I want to say, not in my words, but in the words of Elie Wiesel, that he survived the Holocaust and he got a Nobel Prize. He lived in America. I want to read a little part of his speech 20 years ago, and then ask you, I want to ask you to relate those things and what does it mean to you, the Jews and the non-Jews here in the crowd, okay? All the rivers run to the sea, days come and go, generations vanish, others are born, remembrance, ceremonies follow one another, and hatred is still alive. And some of us, the remnant of the remnant, wonder with the poet Paul Kellen, who will bear witness for the witness? Who will remember what some of us try to relate about a time of fear and darkness when so many, too many victims felt abandoned, forgotten, unworthy of compassion and solidarity? Who will answer questions whose answers the dead took with them? Who will feel qualified enough and strong enough, faithful enough to comfort their fairy legacy? What was and remains clear to some of us here and elsewhere is the knowledge that if we forgot them, we too shall be forgotten. A few words, but it remembrance enough? What does one do with the memory of agony and suffering? Memory has its own language, its own texture, its own secret melody, its own archaeology, and its own limitations. It too can be wounded, stolen, and shamed. But it is up to us to rescue it and save it from becoming cheap, banal, and sterile. To remember means to lend an ethical dimension to all endeavors and aspirations. That's the words of Elie Wiesel. And I want to ask you, first of all, what these words do for you? Maybe Henry? No, what's your name?
Mr. Five?
Mr. Five?
Yeah, he's from Canada.
So you are from Canada. What those words telling to you? You can say, what is the Holocaust and those words of Elie Wiesel are telling you? What's the message for you?
So, as a human, we need to stand strong for the value of average human being.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to stand out. Now we have the chance. We see the war unfinished. It's killing people also. So this the point that you just recited just remind me of equality. It's most important thing in the world. So everybody should go after it. So strive for it. Go for it.
Okay. Thanks. You are from Canada.
Yes, I am from Canada.
And what about you? Where are you from? Netherlands? Wow. And what those words or this day is telling you?
I think it's important for people to care about each other and work as hard as possible for each other too. Something like this will never happen again. And you see like the same thing happening in Ukraine, and that's why I think all these people are here at this point to make sure something like this will never happen again.
Okay, thank Germany, right?
Yes, I am.
Do you busy with this stuff?
Yes, I take a lot of time to confront myself with it and to think about it. And for me, it's still difficult, even so I'm not personally relatable to it maybe, but still it affects me in a deep way, and it's hard to know that my ancestors maybe have been part of the Holocaust and maybe have been part of a hatred which has never been seen before and afterwards in the entire world. And I think it's totally wrong, and I think it's totally unnecessary to hate any group or any group at all, because as hate might be a human feeling, you can just relate it to people who you got problems with, and even then it's not a feeling which should go as far as killing people or torturing people. It's a feeling, but it's wrong to be used in a political way.
Your name is Jan, right?
Yeah, right.
And what's your name?
Dave. Dave.
Dave. And Miriam also, right?
Yeah.
You want also to say something?
I can try. Yeah, for me, like, so we learn a lot about this, like, in Germany, and yeah, I think it's kind of hard because you always feel like a little bit guilty, even if I wasn't alive at this time, but I still feel guilty. And oh God. Yeah, and I think it's important to keep the memory alive. Yeah, especially in German. So I think it's very important that we still take the responsibility for it, even if we weren't alive. But yeah, I think we have to keep this memory alive so that it's never happen again. Yeah. No, you can.
You want that? No.
You also from Germany?
No, I'm from France.
You're from France?
Yes.
What's your name?
Alexis. Alexis.
Alexei.
Yes.
You know, in France you're busy with this stuff, the Shoah and
We talk about it in school, and I think we're not busy enough. We should be more busy about this stuff. As a Western country, we feel just pride about it, about the war, but it's very hypocritical. And as a Western country, I feel maybe the guilt of the country, not personally, but like there's hypocrisies. So that's sorry. I just can't talk.
You know, for yeah, about this place. You know, we are on the border between Poland and Ukraine, and actually this was the border, the temporary border between the Reich, the Third Reich, and the USSR in 1939 until 1941. So the Barbarossa operation, the approach of the German army toward Ukraine and Russia started actually here, and we can witness, at least geographically, the history of the World War II, and somehow the events we are evidencing today is sort of an evolution of the conflict which was at those days, almost 80 years ago. So I can say everyone who is interested in history can reflect on it and think how evil evolves from generation to generation, and how we have to stop it, actually. Anybody wants to say something?
Sure. I don't know if you can hear me. Is the microphone working? I don't know. Oh, okay. Oh, all right. So I'm Kathy from England, and I think. Sorry.
My name is Eli. I'm from Israel. Born in Lviv.
Okay. So I'm Kathy from England. Oh, I'm so sorry.
I'm Natasha from England, but I do have family in Israel, and they are the descendants from people who did flee during the Holocaust. So I am a nurse in England, and obviously just felt called to come and help with the crisis that was happening here. And like you said, I think some of the words about not forgetting and making sure, like, we know that the kind of mantra of the Shoah is never again, but we see these things again and again. And it's not the same reason and it's not on the same scale, but we're still seeing people in their thousands having to flee their country, and we say never again, but we seem to just keep repeating all of these things. It's just not good enough.
I just wanted to say, I think as a mother, I think so I'm, as you know, for the third time, I'm Kathy from England. And I think what struck me as a mother is that I don't just have a responsibility to teach my children about the Holocaust, but it's also about putting a story and history, sorry, not a story, but something that happened into something proactive in your life, because you can learn about something and receive it, but it's also about taking action. And so I think as a mother, I want to make sure that I try to instill in my children the necessity to actually do something about what you've said in terms of values, of instilling in my children a strong sense of accepting everybody, standing up for something that isn't right, and not sort of being a sheep in a crowd, and actually standing up for values in a brave way. And I thank you so much for what you shared, both of you. It's incredibly moving and courageous, actually, to share something so personal. And thank you so much for what you said.
I'm Ori from Israel.
I am Amit from Israel, and I'm a director of a youth movement in Israel. This moment, my kids from the movement are finishing their memorial for the Holocaust Memorial Day, and doing some circles of discussions about how we are as a youth could grow and be citizens and leaders and Jews and Israeli citizens that are better than what has been 18 years ago, and that what can be better 18 years from now. And I think the Holocaust is a base for our values as Jewish and Israeli. For most of us, for most of them, because we not take for granted our freedom, and we don't take for granted our country, and we don't take for granted that we can live and help other people. And that's why we hear in the border for Poland that 3.5 million people that were Jews murdered here. And Ukrainian also assisted a lot to the Nazis at the World War II. And we don't think of that when we come here. We think of what can we do to make this situation better, and we don't avenge. We just want everybody to be free and happy, and we're not. We don't like wars. We don't like these situations, and we don't want anybody ever
to suffer from what our nation and our people suffered 77 years ago. So that's why I am here, and I think that's why a lot of Israelis, I think more than 60 Israelis are here in Medica, and you can imagine how many Israelis are assisting with the Ukrainian-Russian war. And that's all.
Hello everyone, my name is Isaac from Israel, 26. Following the words of Erez, sometimes when a person or a nation facing his own identity and trying to express what is own unique for myself, Isaac, what I'm bringing for the world, what I'm changed or I different for a different person, I remember in the words of Hitler when he says in his writings, also in Mein Kampf, that the Jews are his main enemy. And when you realize that the German, that was an empire, and the Jews were just a minority in a different places, you think it's unreal. But in the deep of the things, you should ask yourself, why are the Jews are the enemy of Hitler? Because Hitler and the Nazi Germany represent the exact opposites of the Jews. Because the Nazi Germany is talking about power, about dominance, about being strong, about eliminate the weakness. It can be the gypsies, it can be the LGBT, it can be any person who is weak. And the Jews is actually the opposite. That's why we are his enemy of the Nazi Germany. So I'm proud to be Hitler's enemy. And sometimes we need to actually see the world, who we are and what are uniquenesses. That's it.
I'm Yara from Israel, and I connect what you said about to be mother. And first I want to say thank you to everybody here. We are Destiny. We have common destiny, and I think we are together sit down here. So this is the hope. I want to speak about hope, because when you care, something happened. So thank you to everybody, and I hope tomorrow will be new day and more good day for our children and our grandchildren.
Hi everyone, my name is Hua. I'm one member of the new federal state of China. I'm glad to have you guys here, and also for me it's a good lesson. When I look at the TV, shows so many historic pictures. Look at these killed families, innocent children, fathers, mothers, and also I'm wondering, the killers are also fathers, mothers, human beings. By why these kind of things happened again and again? Because in some situations, they always have some evil idea, spirit, and lies affect people, so people are easy to be affected by evil. And gradually, people lost their common sense. They lost the basic that we are human beings. They lost the humanity. So they're killing people without any feeling. But gradually, I think Israel, Jewish people paid a very painful cost for whole human beings. Then we learned from it that people, we shouldn't hate each other. We should love each other and take this lesson just by no matter what happens. So there always have some people, you realize the things went wrong and we stand up. So look at us, come from different country, doesn't matter it's come from Israel or from Germany or from some other country, from China, from Canada. We just ordinary people. Ordinary people, we should love each other. This is beyond to race, beyond to the country. whenever things goes wrong, if the first people stand up and then tell the truth and spread the truth, then we should remind each other, we should be united with each other, then the things will be getting better. So I'm looking for these things happen, and gradually I believe we as a human beings, we learned a lot from it. We should remember this every year, remind us there always have evil in this world, but we don't lost our faith. So we, as a human beings, as a ordinary people, the love will be beat the hate eventually. So we all come here for the love. And also, the Israel's history really inspired us. Overcross such a painful time, eventually you build your dream country. And eventually you unite each other and show the world we can do it. Just build with love. And this inspired us. Because we have the same dream, we hope the China and even some other dictatorship country, eventually the freedom will be win. And this based on all our ordinary people support each other. That's why we come here, to support the Ukraine people. Maybe next time some other country, just like previously, would stand up for Jewish people, for Israel. I think that's what we should do in the whole world to make this world better. Thank you.
Where do you live today?
Canada.
Canada.
From Canada here.
Okay.
Okay, my name is Sulamita. I'm from Ukraine. And actually, my grandma's stories, it's about how, I guess, important to stay human during the darkest time. When my grandma, she was like 2 years old when Nazi soldiers came to her village in Ukraine. But actually, they were like good people. Like, it's weird to hear, but they really helped to my grandma's family. They knew that they're Jews. She was the one baby in the village, and they helped her with the food and stuff. That's how they survived. And after communists came back, actually they have to run from the communists and not from the Nazis, because they thought that they work with Nazis because they helped them, but they helped them only because she was a child. So it's sometimes you like getting help from people you never thought, and sometimes people who supposed to help you, they actually are like not good people. And even now, like during the war between Russia and Ukraine, I never say, so it's really personal because it's my country and my people, but I never say that I hate Russian, because I know that everybody has their own stories, and there's some good Russians, and like I say that I hate Putin supporters, but I never say that I hate Russians. And I hope one day also Russia will be raised and they will fight against Putin, also how Ukraine fight against Putin. That's what I think.
Thank you very much. Another person wants to say a word in Hebrew?
In Hebrew, thank you.
I can try to translate it. Maybe someone else can do it better than me.
ערב טוב. ערב טוב.
Good evening.
שמי אלכס גורליק. אני שליח של סוכנות היהודית בפולין.
My name is Alex Gurelik. I am the the mission of the Jewish agency in Poland.
אני גאה לעמוד במקום הזה.
I'm proud to stand here.
לדבר עברית.
To speak Hebrew.
ואני רוצה לחלוק אתכם סיפור קצר סיפור משפחתי.
I want to share with you a short story of my family.
במרחק של 350 קילומטר בערך מפה.
In a distance of 350 kilometers from here.
יש עיירה קטנה.
There's a small village.
שבתוך העיירה הזאת נאצים השמידו 388 גורליקים.
In this village, the Nazis killed almost 400 from my family.
388. זה עוד.
388, that's the number.
אני היום גורליק אחרון, למעט בני.
I am the last member of the family Gorelik. I and my son. Me and my son.
לפני שעליתי ארצה, ידעתי את הסיפור.
Before I came to Israel, I knew my story.
והיום, הנוכחות שלי פה, הנוכחות שלכם פה, היא נותנת הרגשה לאנשים שנמצאים מעבר לגבול.
And today, the fact that I'm here and you are here, it gives me feeling, נותן לי הרגשה
שיש להם גב.
that I have a back.
כל יהודי בצד השני.
I have support.
כל יהודי בצד השני. כל בן אדם שהוא לא יהודי בצד השני, הוא יודע שיש לו גב.
All of the Jews and the non-Jews in the other side, inside Ukraine, they know now that they have a back, they have support.
ואני אומר לכם תודה.
And I want to tell you thanks.
ואני שוב אומר שאני גאה להיות אחד מכם.
And I'm proud to be one of you.
Thank you.
Wow, thank you. Wow, what's your name again?
Alex Gorelik.
Alex Gorelik. Okay, we are going to finish. We are going to put the song Atikva. That's the song of that's our national song. And I want to say thanks, first of all, to you. And it's very, very, very exciting to do this ceremony with you. Represents from the whole world, and especially from Germany. And it's very, very exciting. And also the Chinese, they have their own exile now. And Ukraine and all of this mixed. And my family also from Ukraine in the past, and also from Germany. My last name in Germany, Geldzeller, you know, money counter. That's the proof that I'm Jew. I'm laughing. Okay, so I want to thank, first of all, also to Nicole and all of the delegation.
Yeah.
And all of you. And our head of the delegation, Amit and Erez.
Can we all come together?
Yes, maybe we can all come together and put our national song.
Yeah, and play the national song of the Israel.
We can hug or give hands.
Mm. 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 Thank you all for such a wonderful observance of such an important occasion. Let's not forget the history. Let's remember the Holocaust, and let's move on to a brighter future with love and compassion and humanity to all of us. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you. 80 years ago, the Shoah, the Holocaust happened, and the world was silence, and we came here to talk with you, to activate with you, to our brother. Thank you all.
Thank you all. You all have a nice evening. See you tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you. Wonderful.
Thank you.
See you tomorrow. It was amazing. I will send you the link so you can watch it. Very nice. Yeah. Yeah.
We'll be very glad to get the link for you.
Yeah,
from you.
I will send you the link. So because everything is recorded, and then
Many lives lost, couldn't take them back. Many hearts broke, hope you know the fact. People broke into tears instead. We don't know it yet, when will they be back? Hearts broken, lives taken, cannot unspeak the sad. Love's taken, others crying, can they bring them back? No. Why can't we just live a normal life with the clouds floating in the sky? So many more hearts burning on the inside. Just live like no, we can't make a sound. It's hard to breathe. Oh, sometimes I miss the old times. Oh, sometimes I miss the old times. Many lives taken, couldn't bring them back. Children are crying, hope you know the fact. Soldiers are dying, we can't bring them back. We already knew it, we can't take them back. Hearts broken, lives taken, cannot unspeak the sad. Love's taken.